Okay, we are recording. So, hello. Welcome to our very first day of this Bible study. And like I said in the video earlier, like this book, it is a Christian book, and it comes with a Bible study. The lessons to be learned in it, anybody could value or like get value from. So, if there's anybody that is watching or wants to be part of it, that maybe they have different religious beliefs, I still think there's a lot to be learned from it because it's really, it's got some good foundational values in it that I think are going to be good for our business. So, Happy Plus, you're going to get more, maybe more things out of it. You are a Christian and you follow Christianity, but if not, I think that you'll still gain so much from this. I've only read 2 chapters so far, and immediately I was like, yeah, no, I got to share this with the team. It's the bomb. So the book is called 5 Habits of a Woman Who Doesn't Quit. And when I got this book, I picked it up and I was like, oh yeah, I need to read that because y'all, I'm like a habitual quitter. Okay, like that's me. Like I'm amazed I've made it this far in this business. Like I quit things. That's what I do. And I've quit other network marketing businesses. I've told you guys that before. Y'all know that. And so I'm like, it's seriously a miracle that I'm here today. Okay. So, and a lot of you also know that I've had my own struggles here within the last few months, even in my position where I am now of wanting to quit, or not necessarily quit, but like, doubting and like that. So the book literally jumped off the shelf and hit me in the face. That's what happened. I'm sticking to it. That's what happened. And I was like, I need to buy this. So I found this, and then I was walking around the bookstore because when I'm in a bookstore, I just go and go and go. And then I walked across this one. And I was like, oh my gosh, they go together. And so this is the Bible study. It's a woman that doesn't quit, or a woman who doesn't quit. 5 Habits from the Book of Ruth. It's by the same author, and this is more of like a workbook to follow along with. So I was going to do this myself, but like I said, when I started reading it, I just couldn't keep it to myself. It's really good. So today, I'm going to read you guys the first 2 chapters, and the Bible study workbook. I'm going to read you like how it works. The book and the study don't necessarily go together, even though they look like they do. Like you don't have to be reading the book in order to do this study, but the book is really good. So each week I'm just going to read you 2 chapters. There's 10 chapters total in the book, so I know we'll be a little bit off. We're going to finish the book before we finish the study. But I'm going to read you 2 chapters because every 2 chapters is 1 habit. There's 2 chapters for each habit. So we'll do 1 habit a week until we run out of habits. And then as we're going through the book, workbook, we may touch back on pieces of this book. So if you want to find these, you can get them online or at Lifeway Christian Bookstore. This one, the actual novel, is on sale for $8.49 at Lifeway. And the Bible study was $12.99. It's like an actual workbook you can write in. Like, it's not a requirement. You guys can just take notes. You can write down, the questions or whatever. But if you do want them, I'm totally one of those people that I like to have something in my hand. So if you're like me, the workbook itself, it has 6 weeks, and each week has 5 days of assignments in it, or not assignments, but like questions, and you know what I'm saying, it's like a guided, I don't even know, study thing. I don't know. Each week has 5 days. Monday through Friday, I'm going to go live in Black Diamonds in Training, and I'm going to hashtag 5 habits. So if you want to go back and look for those videos, you can go to Black Diamonds in Training and search within the group hashtag 5 habits, and you can see the days when I put them up there. And I'm going to read like what it has for the day and give you the challenges or the questions that it gives. And I want you guys to take notes on that, because each Sunday, whenever we meet on the Zoom, we'll kind of talk about what each day's challenge, like what you learned from each day's challenge and stuff like that. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and start reading to you guys. Don't laugh. I do pretty well reading out loud, but I get distracted easily. That's why I muted all of you. So I read you guys the letter to quitters, that live video. Did everybody watch it? No? Okay, so I'm going to read it again. It's very short, and it's at the beginning. It's a letter to quitters, and it's how she started this book. It says, to the quitters, I get you. I am you. I run when things get hard. I quit when I don't like how things are turning out. The thought of staying planted anywhere makes me feel like it's going against the grain of who I am. In fact, this book that you're holding almost didn't happen because, hello, my name is Nicki, and I've quit everything. I'm not even exaggerating. I quit this process more times than I can count. I quit pursuing it. I quit trying. I quit praying for it, and I quit believing God for it. But the day came when I got fed up with my cycle of defeat, and since then, I've been a woman on a mission to reverse the effects of quitting on my life. I began by going back to my faith, back to my dreams, back to my hopes, and back to the woman I wanted to become. With foundation and goals in full view, I had to go back and ask these types of questions. When did you start to believe that you were weak? When did you start to believe you're not able, or that you wanted to quit, that you need to give up, that you don't deserve to win? I realized all things that were keeping me stuck in my process of failure, my thoughts, my insecurities, my low self-esteem, and my disbelief in myself. I discovered that I am, in fact, my own greatest enemy, and one day I had enough. I said no more. By myself, I survived defeat temporarily, but the cycle would sneak back up on me. I felt like I was made to eventually quit. I needed someone I could get behind and learn how to break the cycle of defeat. That's my place, sorry. Failure and quitting. I found her. Her name is Ruth. And friend, this woman has more determination and commitment, drive and belief than any woman I've ever actually met. Her story is found in the Bible, and Ruth taught me 5 life-changing habits. Habits that have helped me find bravery in the midst of quitting this battle. And the 5 habits have messed with me in the best possible ways. Help me stay when I want to run. I definitely don't have these habits perfected, but they have kept me in the process. And for this internal reflection of mine, I've discovered that I'm not alone. There are others who are just as sick and tired of feeling like a loser. So one day, I took these private thoughts and I had a public conversation with others about defeat. Instead of judgmental glares, I found the words, me too, to be connectors of our souls. I don't want to quit, but I do. Me too. I feel like I don't have what it takes. Me too. I want to run away. Me too. I can't stick out most commitments I've made. Me too. I've yet to meet someone who hasn't quit something in their life. You and I need this process. We are bent, but we are not completely broken. There is too much at stake to settle. I promise I am way more messed up than you. I've quit more than you have ever quit. I've almost missed it. It was almost too late for me, but it wasn't. Change is possible. Will you strive to be a woman who doesn't quit? Your dream is not dead. Hope is still a possibility, and it's not over. With you and for you, Nicki. That's the letter to quitters at the beginning of this book, and that's kind of what the whole study is based on. Okay, so it's all based on helping women specifically and getting out of that cycle of quitting everything they started, right? That's a big thing with us in network marketing. A lot of people quit, right? And it's easy to quit, not even in the extreme sense of quitting your business, right? But what about quitting the things that we start, that we say we're going to do? We say we're going to be consistent, and then we quit. We say we're going to send messages, and then we quit, right? So things like that. So this is a process for you guys to stick through whatever it is that you're wanting to do. And I'm terrible at this, guys. This is why I bought this book. I am going to read you, like I said, 2 chapters. Kara, I know you're just joining us, but basically what I said is I'm going to read 2 chapters each week on Sunday from this, because each 2 chapters is one of the habits. And then daily, I will give you the challenge out of the 6-week Bible study. And that'll be on Black Diamonds and Training in a live video. And you can search the hashtag 5 habits to find those every day. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to start with chapter 1, and it's going to go over each habit. So today we're going to go over habit number 1, which is she accepts the assignment of refinement. So that's habit number 1. She accepts the assignment of refinement. Has anyone ever told you they couldn't count on you? It's definitely not the most awesome sentiment to receive, especially when it seems to come out of nowhere, which is exactly how this entire journey began for me. He leaned against our painted white cabinets with his arms folded across his chest and shook his head in annoyance. Was he joking? I couldn't even believe the shocking words he just spit out of his mouth. It was about to turn into a word war zone in our house. The trip to Africa just a few weeks away, Chris, my husband, came home from work that Friday night mumbling something about me needing to bake cookies and wash cars the next morning to help him raise funds for his trip. I had a few issues with his mumbling. First, I was like, Chris, really? Car washes and bake sales are for junior high students. Second, I did not remember agreeing to participate in such a fun festivity. I even checked our family calendar app to make sure I hadn't forgotten a prior agreement between us, but this was not on the schedule. And third, I had already planned out my whole Saturday. I simply could not understand why he was unable to see everything that I had going on and why participating in this fundraiser was not my top priority. Someone has to drive these 3 girls of ours through 6 lines a day, get nail polish out of the carpet, wash 300 loads of laundry, chase the dog down the street from the angry UPS man, work part-time, and cook meals no one likes. I do not have the energy for car washes and bake sales, especially ones that I didn't agree signing up to help with. The silence to dinner was deafening, and all I could think about were those rude words he spoke to me. I was, too, someone he could count on. Our kids always get picked up from school? Yes. Well, there was that one time, and then that other time. Oh, yes, and that one time that I thought the other carpool mom was picking up. Whoops. Did he have dinner to eat that night? Yes. Did he have clean socks on? Yes. I know they weren't matching, but they're clean. Done from this trying day, I laid my tired head on the pillow. My final thoughts of the day concluded. I was as dependable as they come. If he couldn't see that, it was his issue, not mine. All was well in my safe, selfish world until about 5:30 a.m. the next morning. It's pretty unlawful to wake up at 5:30 on a Saturday morning without an alarm clock, but there I was, wide awake and angry. His words from the night before hovered over my thoughts. He made clear that he felt I was a commitment dropout. I totally disagreed, but why were his words bothering me so much? I tried to go back to sleep, but I knew the coffee pot would be my only companion for this early hour emotional confrontation. I made my way downstairs and poured myself a hot cup of self-pity. A white couch with coffee and muddy paw print stains is where I began to have an unexpected encounter with God. My Bible sat on the cushion next to me. I opened it up and started to find a verse that would help me sort through all of this emotional exhaustion I was feeling about the situation. Honestly, I was looking for a verse to help justify my feelings. Some of you've done this too, but I opened the verse that was just rubbing me all wrong. It was, whoever is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. Luke 16:10. My eyes wandered over those words for about 10 minutes, and for the first time in my life, I wondered if I was someone who could be trusted with much. Personal agendas. As I wrote in my journal that morning, my soul began to ache. I arrived before God with a personal agenda. Bless me, O God, in my selfishness and in my disobedience and in my pride. Taking our personal agenda to God and asking Him to bless it is always dangerous and detrimental. I felt this deep sense of conviction. As my husband told me he couldn't count on me, I wondered if God feels that way too. I began to recall many things I had agreed to do in my heart but never followed through with my actions. Commitments like turning to God instead of food, being slow to become angry, loving others more than I love myself, giving generously and doing what I said I would do. The situation with Chris wasn't the first time I had to confront my commitment issues. I'd been promising more than I delivered for a lifetime. I had been a quitter and a runner from all things. But adversity brings the opportunity to introduce us to ourselves in a new way. And the way I had approached my lack of commitment before was to just live in a state of denial. This time, something felt different inside of me. The whole situation was so internally conflicting because I am a woman who has a longing to be used by God. I want my life to count for something more than just fulfilling my own desires. I have dreams to make a difference in my generation for the good. As I sat there reflecting on Luke 16:10, my spirit could sense God's disapproval with my decision about not going to the fundraiser. All I could think was this verse, my dreams, and how closely connected everything was. It was as if God were whispering, if you can't be trusted with this, then how can you be trusted with that? Intentional steps of obedience mean more to God than we might realize. We want God to do great things in and through our lives. Many of us find ourselves wading through daily discouragement. Sometimes discouragement is brought on by our own decisions of disobedience. I've discovered lately that this season has been more about God being able to trust and count on me through each and every commitment I make. In God's eyes, the big things I want to do for Him mean just as much as the little things I'm called to do daily. That early, quiet Saturday morning, I was challenged to see my life for what it really was, but also to do something about the places that needed to be changed. And I knew that I was in the wrong. I went upstairs and I told my husband I was sorry and that I would love to go to the fundraiser. Okay, I didn't really say I would love to go, but I said I would be there. And I could tell that Chris appreciated my gesture. Something deeper happened in my heart that day. I let God show me something about myself that was an area of weakness, following through with my commitments. My selfish ways were exposed, and in this area of my life, I went through a rebuilding process. It's been one of the most uncomfortable and challenging places to ever walk through. While it wasn't easy, that day I began to experience the positive effects of what happens when a woman accepts an assignment of refinement from God. Slowly, God chisels away at the ugly, the bad, and the even more ugly. And one day she finds herself choosing between what she wants most over what she wants now. What commitment have you made that you're just not sure you can fulfill? It might be something simple or something complicated. I want you to be a woman of God. A woman that God and others can count on. I don't want you to quit your commitment because I know there is something unbelievable that God wants you to do with your life and in your circumstances. But will you be faithful here that He can get you there? I want to introduce you to a woman in the Bible who has helped me understand the importance of completion. Her name is Ruth, and she's a game changer. This is the book, Nicki. Refinement assignments. Okay, so I know there have been a dozen books written and sermons preached on this woman, and I want you to know, I know that. But we are not going to take this deep theological look at the book of Ruth. Instead, I want to show you what can happen when a woman follows through with her commitments. Not only does Ruth complete a hard assignment from God, but Ruth is also a woman that God used to shape an entire generational line. You want to break some cycles of defeat in your generational line? Do things ahead of you look a little impossible or hopeless? Are you having a hard time sticking with things all the way to the finish? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you too are a candidate for God to use to shift gears, change things up, and become a positive difference your situation needs. Through Ruth's life, I uncovered 5 habits, which led her to be a dependable woman. Throughout this book, we are going to unpack her story, these 5 habits, and learn to apply these habits to our lives today. The space between where we are and where we want to be is called potential. Ruth's story is filled with it, and so is yours. Really, Ruth had every right to quit. No one would have judged her decision to give up. She could have justified the desire to quit more than once. But the first habit we are about to see lived out in Ruth, the woman who didn't quit, is this. Habit 1, she accepted the assignment of refinement. An assignment of refinement is a situation in life where we are given the opportunity to either go through it or grow through it. Typically, these assignments catch us off guard. They come up from a difficult relationship or life circumstance. Assignments of refinement are brought upon both controllable and uncontrollable situations, meaning sometimes we bring them on and sometimes they bring us on. This fundraiser situation started off as a conflict, ultimately became an assignment of refinement for me. I bet if you look closely at your life right now, there's an assignment of refinement that is nearby. Here's what happened. The book of Ruth is sandwiched between two books of the Bible, Judges and 1 Samuel. It's only 4 chapters long. 4 chapters. You can totally read that. Ruth's story begins with a man named Elimelech, I think, a woman named Naomi. They lived in a little town called Bethlehem, the same Bethlehem where Jesus would later be born, but there's nothing to eat in Bethlehem, and work was scarce. So Elimelech and Naomi packed up their crew, the 2 boys, Mahlon and Chilion. I'm telling you guys these names. Sorry, y'all. And they moved to a city called Moab. Moab was filled with work and food, good things for people wanting to survive, right? But there were also some interesting situations with the people there called Moabites. The Moabites worshipped a god called Chemosh. His name was about as complicated as my maiden name, Chevalier. But hello, my last name is now complicated too, Koziarz. But apparently I'm last name challenged. Anyway, Chemosh was not the same God that Elimelech and Naomi worshipped, Jehovah. Jehovah is the one true living God. The worship of Chemosh brought on all kinds of awful things like sacrificing children and brutal sexual acts against women. It was a complicated religion, and the Moabites and the Israelites typically didn't get along. After they lived in Moab for a while, something really tragic happened. Naomi's husband died. She was left with their 2 sons. Well, what on earth? The Bible doesn't tell us what happened, but 3 verses into this story, Naomi's husband dies. While it's a terrible situation, Naomi still has her 2 sons. Life carries on, but then something else happens. The boys both marry Moabite women, Orpah and Ruth. Israelis marry Moabites. 2 different faiths merging together. And it turns out that Moabite women used to seduce them and lead them into sin. God actually struck those guys down dead because of their promiscuity and disobedience. The women had a bad rep, and this is a curious situation merging together. My husband and I started off our marriage in a similar way, not in the he was seduced by other women way, but in the he grew up in one faith and I grew up in another. Needless to say, we had some bumps as we got going because of the differences in that way. So I'm just guessing, but I imagine there were some snags in these marriages too. Certainly, there must have been discussions about faith and maybe even some opposition. But here's something I've learned about studying the Bible. Anytime we see something that has the potential for opposition, it's always an opportunity for God to reveal himself. And this concept is not just with the stories we study in the Bible. This is a truth for you and me today. All of these refinement assignments where we feel like so much opposition that it makes us want to quit, they're indeed an opportunity for God to reveal his power. Moving past the interesting fact that these Israelite boys are now married to Moabite women, we see things get super complicated in this story. But about 10 years later, both Mahlon and Chilion died. This left Naomi alone, without her 2 sons or her husband. And boom, just like that, Naomi's life and these 2 women's lives are forever changed. But for Naomi, this was a worst case scenario. Back in these days, a woman's family was everything. It wasn't like it is today where I can be a wife, a mom, a blogger, work part-time, be on the women's ministry committee, and wear all of these hats that define me. A woman's family was it. Naomi has, in a sense, lost her identity and is unable to provide for herself. Naomi is left with so much heartache, bitterness, and confusion, and the only thing she knows is to go back to her hometown of Bethlehem. So Naomi tells the girls to pack their bags. They're moving out. I've discovered that most of the time when we go through a difficult situation, our natural instinct tends to be the familiar. Familiar is comfortable. There is something for each of us that provides comfort. And this is why we have a thing called comfort food. We crave it when life feels out of control. My comfort food is my mom's chicken noodle casserole. It's the most unhealthy thing you've ever seen. Egg yolk noodles, cans of chicken, cream of chicken soup, milk, and cheese. And on top, crushed up potato chips. I will literally crave it when I feel like my life is spinning out of control. According to the American Institute for Cancer Research, 1 in 10 Americans said they gained weight in the months after the 9/11 attacks in the U.S. This is a time when our country felt the most out of control. People fled to something that felt familiar to them. Food. There are other things that people do to feel comfortable during hard situations. People find familiarity through retail therapy or vegging out on the couch with old movies. Sometimes we even go back to old relationships just because they feel comfortable. Fleeing to the familiar is risky for a woman who wants to stop quitting because victory is most often found in the most unfamiliar and uncomfortable place. Naomi is fleeing to the familiar, Bethlehem. But this is a new place for Orpha and Ruth. It's different, strange, scary, unfamiliar. They both start off accepting this assignment of refinement and decide to go with her. But not everyone who initially accepts the assignment of refinement sticks with it all the way. Trust me, I know. The quit list. I pretty much quit everything. You think I'm exaggerating? I'm not. Back in January 2014, I was asked to co-lead an online Bible study of the book by Liza Kirkes called Made to Crave. It's a book to help women and men overcome their addictive behavior. And we may have just had a few ladies join us for this online study, and by a few, I mean 40,000. Holy smokes. For this study, we were going to be specifically focusing on weight loss. There, before thousands of women, I declared on video teachings that this was the time I was going to be different, and that this time I was going to make myself healthy. This time was it. Was it? For about 8 weeks. Then over the next few months, the Bible study ended and life settled in. My girls got incredibly busy with their activities, and my husband's company got stressful. Work got busy, and then, because we thought we didn't have enough going on, we decided to buy a fixer-upper farm. Y'all, a fixer-upper farm. Like, for real, what were we thinking? More on this later. But a few weeks ago, when I stepped on the scale to evaluate my progress, the scale said, "You quit. You gave up on this. You didn't see this thing through." Nothing like thousands of women watching you fall flat on your quitting face. Not that I ever felt their judgment. They were the most gracious community ever. But my defeat made my heart sad. Because who wants to lead 30,000 women to a finish of defeat? But defeat isn't just something I've struggled with recently. It seems like I've struggled with giving up on my commitments my entire life. As a little girl, I quit the soccer team because, well, it was boring. In middle school, I quit most of my friendships because they were full of drama. In high school, I quit my health and went through an eating disorder. My first year of college, I quit my purity. I quit jobs because there was a conflict. At least a dozen times I've tried to quit at getting the Koziarz crew on a monthly healthy eating plan. Frozen pizza it is. I've quit diet program after diet program. I quit trying to quit caffeine. Multiple times in my marriage, I've quit trying. When people get on my nerves, I quit caring about them. I quit workout programs because they got hard. My laundry pile screamed she gave up. I resigned from the PTO because the PTO moms make me break out in stress hives. I've tried to quit motherhood at least a dozen times, but for some reason, no one will accept my resignation. But I wanted to quit. Like right now, as I'm typing these words, one of my little crew members is banging on the door, begging me to stop typing and look at her outfit. And since we bought this fixer-upper farm, there's a slew of aesthetic quirks in the house, and the door to my office is one of those places. It's missing its doorknob. She's sticking her mouth through the doorknob hole and screaming how unfair her life is and what a terrible mother I am because I will not stop typing to look at her outfit. Hand to forehead, please, someone give me a pink slip. Looking back on my life, I realize just how much I've quit. It's painful to think about how many opportunities I've missed out on because I gave up so easily. Sometimes my quitting has had little effect on my life, but there have been other times that it's created a tremendous overflow of issues. As I look back over the list of things that I quit, there were many, many results to those decisions. What is one thing that you have quit on in the past 5 years that you are looking back on today and realizing that you should not have quit? I look over my quit list. It's no wonder my husband felt like I wasn't someone he could count on. I haven't been. And the harder assignment, the more likely I am to give up. Maybe you picked up this book because you can relate to this feeling of there being too much in front of you that looks impossible. Or maybe you feel like the 42% of my blog readers I polled who said their biggest struggle with God was falling into the same patterns of defeat over and over again. More than anything, I'm guessing that you picked up this book because you have something inside of you that needs to feel success. We live in a culture today that is continuously dumping defeat on us. The constant comparisons on social media to remind us that we are not good enough, we are not the best, we are not liked, and our ideas are stupid compared to others. Can I just affirm for a moment these feelings that you have? I really believe it's one of the reasons I quit things so often. Sometimes I have this messed up perception of what it means to complete something for God. I get too caught up in the deceptive picture of completion means everyone loves what I've done and cheers me on the entire process. Remember, refinement assignments are made up of both controllable and uncontrollable situations. Sometimes we bring on the hard places ourselves. Other times, life just seems to dump on us. But no matter what you want to quit today, no matter how hard or impossible it feels, I'm asking you this question. Will you let this place refine your life to make you a stronger woman? I'm finding that as we begin accepting this assignment of refinement, there will not be a lot of people in our corners cheering us on. People just don't like to RSVP to these kind of parties. Naomi, Ruth, and Orpha found themselves in a horrible refining situation. And at this point in the story, they're alone. There's no one guiding them through this or giving them a how-to manual. But so far, they've said yes to the assignment. Except for one of them, that's about to change. So then she explains that at the end of each chapter, you're going to see a section called Make It Stick. These are quotes that she wants you to remember the most from each chapter. And she also has questions for us to answer, and they're called To Be Honest questions. So we're going to go over those real quick from this chapter. Did everybody like that chapter? That was really interesting to me. So I'm going to let you guys, I'm going to ask you these questions, and you can unmute yourself or you can put them in the chat, whatever you prefer. But first of all, the Make It Stick section is just like the biggest quotes she wants you to remember from each chapter. So the first one is, victory is most often found in the most unfamiliar and uncomfortable places. That's something we always talk about, right? We always say that your success is one step out of your comfort zone. So we've heard that one before. A committed woman learns to choose what she wants most or what she wants now. I think that's a big one for us to carry out of this, guys. How often do we want to do what we have to do now, right? So we need to start thinking about what we want most all the time. What you want most is your why, right? That's your why. You have a reason that you got into this business. That's what you want most. You want the success because you want that. Sometimes you don't feel like posting and you don't feel like sending out those messages or getting on that Zoom or doing whatever it is that you have to do now in order to get what you want most. So carry that one with you for sure. Opposition is always an opportunity for God to reveal himself. And then we have 3 questions. Number 1, what are a few things that are on your quit list? Things that you've quit before. Anybody want to share? Unmute you. Go ahead, Karen.
Unmute. There you go. Can you hear me?
At the same time.
Sorry. I've never really been one big into like fitness or anything. My husband is, but like I made a commitment to myself to like just do the 6-week program, and I did it for like 3 days. And I was done. They give you rest days, and I was like, "Oh man, this is great." And then I'm like, "Oh wait, I don't really feel like working out. I'm tired."
You had something too?
Kinda. I was in the middle of trying to write down that last quote, and so I never even heard the question.
Oh, sorry. The last quote is, opposition is always an opportunity for God to reveal himself.
No, what was the question?
The question was, what are a few things on your quit list? What are some things you've quit? You're just calling yourself out. That's all.
Time management stuff. Getting my house in order. Stuff like that. Pretty much. I'm going to get completely organized so I can be more efficient with it, work stuff, and then, oh wait, life happens. Oh, today I'm not going to let me working at Homes to Suites or something like that, or my cleans interfere with it works. I'm going to find a way to get it to all work together, and then I just clean, and it's 7 o'clock at night and I haven't made a post.
I do that all the time. I told you guys at the beginning of this Zoom, I'm a habitual quitter. That's why this book jumped off the shelf and hit me in the face. Okay. Like, I quit everything. That's what I do. So just to give you guys an example, like, I mean, we're talking like way back, y'all. Like, I quit swimming lessons because I didn't like getting water up my nose. I quit gymnastics. I quit cross country. I quit band. I tried to go to college and quit 3 different times. I did end up going back and getting my RN. Y'all, I quit 3 times. I quit so many jobs, I don't even remember what all I've done anymore. Okay. I've done 3 network marketing companies before it worked. Like, I quit things. Like, I do. That's what I do. Okay. So how about anybody else? Anybody else want to share some things they've quit themselves out? Hold yourselves accountable. Anybody? Anybody? You don't have to. Okay, the second one was, a committed woman learns to choose what she wants most over what she wants now. Okay. So the second question is, you can write these down. If you don't want to talk on the Zoom, you don't have to. Okay, you can write down your answer just for yourself. The second question is, where is your flee to the familiar place? Make sense for everybody? Everybody understand the question? Okay. You want to share, Kara?
Yeah, sure. I think it goes just doing what's comfortable and easy, right? Like, before all of us probably joined at Works, we were, going to our 9 to 5s and, having all that time. If you don't have any kids, you do what you want to do. You don't have to worry about sharing it with anybody else. For me, going back to my flee zone would be using my children as an excuse and just sitting at home doing nothing, but just like literally hours upon hours of kids TV, even though like it's not benefiting me watching these darn cartoons. But it's easier than having to get out there and actually do work to make my business grow, or even exercise. Even though it's only going to take me 30 minutes, I can't find the time to get my butt off the couch because I'm just I'm tired. I'm just going to do this. It's easy.
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing in network marketing. See, the question was, where is your flee to the familiar place? Oh. So they were talking about in this book that she fled back to Bethlehem because that's what she knew, right? That's what she's comfortable with. So it doesn't have to be that extreme, though. It doesn't have to be moving. Like Kara said, with network marketing, we get in this, and then people quit because they want to go back to what they're familiar with. Life before is what they're familiar with. And even if it's not easy, even if they go to a job that they hate every day, know that they know how to do it. It's familiar. They're not being told no every day. They're not having to be on the phone while they're cooking dinner or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, everything is hard. You have to choose your hard, right? We hear that all the time. So sometimes they choose the hard that's more familiar to them because they know they can get through that, instead of choosing to stick with the new kind of hard. And so that's what this whole thing is talking about. This whole chapter was talking about, is like moving past that, letting yourself change, become familiar with something new, because that something new may change your life for the better, right? It may bring something amazing into your life. You don't know if you don't go through that hard part first. So anybody else want to talk about their flee to the familiar place?
Yeah, well, I have a few different familiars things. It used to be always run back to Georgia. I actually did that back in 2009 or 2010. I moved down here, and life just got tough. I was behind on bills, so I just let it all go into default and everything and fleed all the way up to North Georgia to my mom's house. I was like, Mom, I've got no money. I'm coming home. I also do retail therapy. Not as much anymore, thankfully, because that drains me so much. Then I've gotten real hooked on staying around and just watching TV and everything like that. But I've definitely had a lot of thoughts since I started Katie Cleans about, well, this is difficult, having to start my own business and everything. I should just, go get a normal job and go back to it. So, and even now, like, I'm working at Home to Sweets and everything. I'm like, well, it works, isn't quite going the way I want it to. And Katie Cleans is just so annoying trying to find all these customers. I could just work here as a housekeeper and, move up maybe. So, battle with that a lot.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is talking about, is like, well, I could just do this. I could settle, right? And I could go through my life and I could be fine. Mm-hmm. But are you going to end up where you want to be one day? You settle, right? You're not going to. It's not going to happen. So that's where we have to decide to push through those feelings. And hopefully this book will teach us how to do that. Anybody else? No? Cool. All right, it's fine. Let's see. The last one for this chapter is, what is an assignment of refinement that you're going through or have gone through?
I'm a little
confused. What is an assignment?
Exactly.
You both started talking at the same time. Yeah, it was, what is an assignment of refinement that you're going through or have gone through?
So explain that a little bit, please.
Okay, so an assignment of refinement would be something that you are faced with that is going to require you to be a different person to get through, right? It's going to require you to change. It's going to require you to grow. Something that's outside of your comfort zone that you're pushed to go through. That make sense? So like for me, my assignment of refinement was not joining this business. I was already a social butterfly. I was already one of those people that could talk to anybody. I was already huge into social media. My assignment of refinement has been promoting to Triple Diamond. It's kicking my butt, right? Like I have wanted to quit more times than I can count. It didn't get hard until after I hit Double Diamond, and everybody's journey is different, guys. Some people it's really hard starting, and then later it picks up and runs. And some people start off fast, and then no matter what, at some point you're going to hit a wall. Whether you start with that wall at the beginning of your path, you have to get over to get going, or you start off and you get to run for a mile and then you hit the wall, you're always going to hit the wall. Yeah, Nicki, what's up?
Yeah, well, I've had a hard time still with people. They say they're interested, and then I've had some people say, oh, I want to become a distributor, and then they back out. So it's like, I'm like having a hard time. And I've been with It Works like over a year now, and I only have one loyal customer. So it's really hard for me to keep going.
I totally feel you. So, I'm proud of you sticking with it, because that's what it takes. You have to stick with it because it's easier to quit, right?
Yeah.
It's easier to quit and throw in the towel, but it's not going to be easier in the long run because you gave up on something that you wanted so much for yourself and for your family. And it's harder in the long run. I'm super proud of you for sticking with it because you have so much ahead of you. And the fact that you stick with it, that's going to show your friends that you're serious and you mean it and that you want it, right? People watch you. And when you quit, they can see that, right? They see that you didn't take it seriously. So, your friends and family, they're going to come to respect that you have a passion for it and that you want this and you need this for your family. That's going to mean the world to them when you eventually have your team members join you. watch, they're going to be total rock stars because they're going to have been watching you for a whole year, right?
Yeah. I'm going to try to get like some business cards and try to get enough money to buy some samples and maybe send to some of those that have said that they were interested, and maybe that will push them a little to get started,
Definitely. Samples are great if you can give out the samples. And, they can be simple. You can get a box of greens and send one, okay, to somebody, and it's $1. Send it to them. I know it can be tough. I didn't buy products for myself until I went diamond, personally, because when I started, I was struggling. I mean, I was trying to get through as a single mom. I didn't have the money to order samples. That was tough for me. And that's what I would do. I would buy one box of greens and I would send out all of those samples. I didn't send them 5 days. I sent them 1 day, right? I wanted them to try one. And that's how you have to start, and then you work your way through it. But it's inspiring to watch someone like you that sticks with it, because that's huge for you. You mean it, you want it, and people can see that, I promise you. I personally, guys, I have not signed a distributor in 5 months now, since June, when we did the $10 deal. I used to be a top enroller for distributors almost every month, and I haven't signed a distributor in months. So I have hit a wall myself, right? That's why I'm saying this has been my assignment, refinement, and that I thought that I had it, right? And then all of a sudden stopped signing anybody. I wasn't, it was one of those things where I thought, how in the world am I supposed to be inspiring my team to be great when I'm not? You know what I mean? And those feelings of doubt, they get to you, right? They start wearing on you. They weigh heavy on your shoulders. And it sucks. That's when you want to throw in the towel and be like, this is for the birds, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm being rejected every single day. People are telling me no every single day. I don't even want to send these messages out anymore because they're going to tell me no, right? And we start telling ourselves these things, and we're speaking that into our business and into our lives. And you can't do that. But so many people, I mean, they say like 80% of people quit within their first 90 days.
Well, I a while back when I first started, I had someone wanted me to go to a different company, so I quit, and then Tennis asked me, well, what's going on? And so then I came back. I didn't really quit, but I was almost to that point, because someone was saying, oh, well, this other company is better and blah, blah.
It's greener over here, right? The grass is greener over here.
But I'm still here. Yay.
Yeah, well, I had a moment like that too. And this is recording. Oh, well, here we go. I had a moment like that too a few months ago when I was really struggling with my business, and I was really struggling to find my fire in my business. And someone presented me with an opportunity, and it wasn't anything that competed. It was actually something that could help me in my business. It was another MLM thing, right? But it was an MLM that was build business. I was like, okay, I could do both. No, you can't. No, you can't. Like, to be honest with myself, I was full of doubt in my works business. And I was letting that get to me, and I decided that, I could add this on and maybe it would help, when really I just needed to look at myself in the mirror and look at what I was doing in my business. If I stopped putting myself into my team, pouring into my team, then how can I expect my team to keep pushing, right? If I stopped sending my own messages and posting and doing all these things, then how can I expect them to do it? How do I expect customers to come to me if I'm not doing any work, right?
Yeah.
I'm not just going to show up for you and be like, hi, I'd like to join your business. You don't know me and I don't know you. Here I am, ready to go. Like, this isn't like that. And so when we start feeling those feelings of doubt and we're discouraged, we stop doing what we need to do. And then guess what? The business just keeps spiraling downward, right? You stop getting any interest at all. And then you use that as an excuse to keep doing what you're doing because nobody's shown up, right?
Yeah.
So I did that. I got into my own downward spiral. It was in August. I mean, I can pinpoint it for you. There was 2 weeks, guys, 2 weeks completely that I did not post anything. I did not send one message. I did not post anything. I did nothing with my business for 2 weeks. And I know that doesn't sound like a very long time, but I was struggling with it before that. But those 2 weeks, I almost gave up. I mean, it was rough for me. I knew I was never going to quit the business, but I almost stopped pushing. I told my husband I was going to go and start putting in applications for a job at the hospital. And he was like, yeah, no, you're not. Like, we're not doing that. You have this in your lap. You can do so much with this. You're not going to do that. So, but he kind of snapped me back into it, but I almost gave up, and I'm sitting at the brink of full diamond, you know? So no matter where you are in your journey, at some point you're going to hit a wall. What we want to see as leaders is we want to see who can get over that wall or who stops at the wall and turns around and goes back home, right? Because the people that can get over that wall, they're strong enough to go all the way to the top. And that's what we want to see.
Well, I'm glad that I have you and Michelle and Tanis and Chelsea, because I'm, like I said, I have people like say, oh, wow, what is that? And then, you know, and then they say, oh, well, a couple of weeks I'll order something, or, you know, so it's, I'm kind of at that standstill. I'm still posting for sure. I try to do 3 times a day, but sometimes I do only 2, and, you know, so I'm still trying, and I'm not going to give up, but I'm just glad I have this family, this team that's, you know, helping, or, you know, when they have helpful thoughts or things to say or do, I'm just so happy with everyone on this team.
I really love our team too. It's quite a family. I really enjoy it. I've never found anything else like it in any other company. So I'm right there with you. I love this team. Let's see, what was I going to tell you guys? I don't remember. I was going to read the second chapter, but we've been on for almost an hour already. So I'm going to kind of go over what this study, how it works, because I'm going to be doing the live videos to explain each day. And we may do the second chapter next week, or I may do it on a live video so you guys can watch it when you want to, just because we've already been on for almost an hour and the family call is in just a few minutes.
Sorry.
That's okay. It's not your fault. I didn't know what to expect. So I'm glad we have discussion, because that's what we're supposed to do, right? We're supposed to grow from this. So we'll figure out different ways to catch up. I can read it on a live video, something like that, so you guys can watch it in your own time as well. So I'm going to go over kind of how the study works. Just really quickly, there's like an introduction section, just so you guys can understand as I'm posting the videos throughout the week. So is there something you're ready to quit? Is there someone you want to give up on? Perseverance is one of the greatest skills, but one of the hardest lessons we will learn in our lifetime. We are living in a day where we are encouraged to life based on how we feel. I want to eat healthy, or I want to eat what I want to eat, but I want to stay healthy. I want to follow God, but only if it feels good. I want to serve others, but if I don't feel like it, I'm going to tell myself there's another day. Every now and then I'll get an ounce of determination and start to pursue the dreams and the talents and the gifts that God has given me with all of my might. But it seems like once I get going, something is always trying to stop me. I often quit before I even realize I've quit. Maybe you can relate. You've bombed the interview and didn't get the job you wanted, so you gave up trying and settled for the other position. The first run you went on left you on the side of the road throwing up, so you never ran again. A business you started failed, so you threw in the towel of entrepreneurship. Marriage got messy, complicated, and hard, so you stopped trying. I'm not proud to own this title, but I am truly the quitting expert. All of those things above and more have been part of my quitting journey. But then I discovered this woman in the Bible, Ruth, and she taught me so much more than a Bible story. Through her life, I uncovered 5 life-giving habits to help me persevere when things get hard, complicated, and messy. These habits do more than just motivate me. They help me fight resistance when it rises. They taught me to pursue discipline instead of desire, and as I determine my daily direction. I've learned that the direction of our lives needs to be far less about to-do lists and accomplishments and more about becoming someone that God can count on. And when we become someone God can count on, incredible things start to happen. Lives are transformed, generational lines of bondage are broken, and we become our best version of ourselves. The enemy of our souls, Satan, knows what pushes us to our limits. He wants us to give up on our hopes, dreams, and the plans that God has for us. He wants you to quit because then there is one less threat to him. There is power when women come together. We will not be women who back down from the promises of God, and we will not let fear keep us from pushing through. And when that day comes, we will stand before our God, and he will say, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." Yes, friend, we can and we will do hard things together. How this will work. As I know your life is complicated, busy, and challenging, and the last thing I want you to do is quit your Bible study. I'm keeping things as simple as possible for you to be successful. Each week, you'll come together with hopefully at least one other person to discuss, challenge each other, and study the book of Ruth. You have the option to watch a short video teaching each week as well. You can download that. It's $9.99 if you want to watch her videos. It says, or maybe you are going to do this study solo, and that's okay too. God is ready to meet you and give you a powerful encounter through him and his word. Okay, there are helpful questions for you to discuss with someone or reflect on personally. In-depth Bible teachings will help you unpack Ruth's story. The most important part of your weekly study will be your QUIT strategy time. This is the place where you let God speak to you through his word, but also where you are open and honest about the daily struggles you face. It will also help you evaluate what things you need to shift in your life so that you can successfully apply the 5 habits from the book of Ruth every place you want to quit before it's too late. And guess what else? By the time you complete the study, you will have read the entire book of Ruth and studied more than 25 Bible verses to help you persevere. And that is a pretty awesome accomplishment. So, here are some tips on how the study will work. There's a quit quitting verse of the day. Every day we're going to have a quit quitting Bible verse. These are verses that you will want to keep by for those times when you need to experience the power of God through his written word. Each day you will have the chance to study and learn how to apply them to your life. There will be short readings. I'll be sharing a lot of my personal journey and will connect with Ruth on a deeper level through these sections. I haven't held anything back from you. The good, the bad, and the ugly parts of my journey are written into the study. You'll also read a portion of Ruth's story each week and look up other verses that relate to what we're studying. My goal is to get you as familiar with the book of Ruth as possible, but also introduce you to other parts of Scripture as it relates to not giving up. Then there's the QUIT strategy. It might be my favorite part. To overcome any battle, there has to be a strategy, and this is ours. At the end of the week, you'll have the opportunity to work through this strategy. And here's what it entails. We're going to do the quit strategy every Sunday is what the plan is. So it's at the end of the week, you'll go over kind of everything that you've done each day, and then we'll do the quit strategy together. It's Q, questions we need to ask and answer. It's so important on this journey to allow ourselves to wrestle with questions about the text we are studying, but also to personally evaluate the progress we are making. God's word brings life change, but it does require effort on our part. And these questions will help bring you to this place of life change. U is understanding the word. Here we will recap what verses, words, or characters you've studied during the week. We'll make sure that you have a clear picture of what has happened in Ruth's story before you move on to the next week. The I is into the promise. Every story in the scripture has a promise for our lives, and Ruth's story is filled with promises of hope. In this portion, we'll see how we can step into the promises God has for us. The T is turn something around. After filling up with the truth throughout the week, here is where we'll decide what actions we need to take and what changes in our attitude we need to create. Are you ready to begin? Me too. Let's do this. So that's kind of how it's all going to work. Like I said, this week was just kind of an introduction to how it all works. Throughout this read, you'll want to read Ruth 1 through 18. It's not very long. If you don't have a Bible, you can Google it and it'll pull it up for you. So Ruth 1:1-18. Really short. That's going to help you guys with each live video. You'll want to read that before you start. Monday through Friday, I'll have a live video on diamonds and training. I can't promise you that it'll be at the same time every day. So, sorry. But you'll just want to search hashtag 5 habits and it'll come up in there. All right. That's it for today, I guess, because I don't want to keep you guys forever and ever. But I hope you guys like that because I'm really digging this book. Really digging this book. If you don't have it, here it is again. 5 Habits of a Woman Who Doesn't Quit by Nicki Koziarz. And I read the first chapter and I was like, yeah, nope, got to share this. It's awesome. I think we'll have fun doing it together and hopefully we'll bring on some more people along the way. So you guys have a great night, a good week. I hope your week is super successful. And I'll see you all on Sunday. And if you guys have questions throughout the week, let me know. Okay. Talk to you soon. Bye.